Do you know what the second biggest killer of Australians is? It affects 1 in 6 people and costs us over $5 billion per year. But it's not all doom and gloom. Most people survive and many thrive. Today on the show, we're talking about strokes. The experts will give us the facts and the stroke survivors will tell their amazing stories. So grab a coffee, put your feet up and watch for the next half hour, The Sally Ann Show. Hi, I'm clinical psychologist Sally Ann McCormack. Thanks for joining us for the very first episode of The Sally Ann Show. We have a packed show today. We're going to meet some inspirational survivors of stroke who have not only rebuilt their lives, but in doing so have given joy to many others. A woman who wrote a book she couldn't read, people who can sing but not speak, and lots more. Plus, we have a very special musical number later in the show. So what's the survival rate then for a stroke?
Well, it is a serious condition and about 1 in 5 people actually die during the first year after their stroke. But by the same token, of the survivors, about half are actually disabled to some degree. But the good news is, as I've mentioned, that it's a highly preventable condition and we each have the most power to prevent our own stroke by just living well and using medication when it's needed.
Recently, the Sally Ann team went out to meet a very special group of people who have aphasia. Anne Cole and her husband Barry are a lively couple who live in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne.
We rode bikes,
Yes.
we walked, we like walking a lot.
And teams.
And we're in a group called Teams.
And for the last 5 years, they've been dealing with the effects of Anne's stroke.
I woke up, I went to go out of bed, but I was I was on the wall.
They're also both members of the Stroke Accord Choir, specifically set up for people living with stroke. John Whitehead is also a member.
They didn't know whether my limbs were going to go dormant, and they didn't know whether I'd survive.
I had an aneurysm in my head. It went out of the blue.
At 33, Erin is the youngest member of the Stroke Accord Choir. And did you have aphasia? They all have some.
I did have aphasia. Just after my stroke, I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Listen to me now.
Yeah. John's recovery has also been a long journey.
I couldn't talk. They got me to write. I couldn't even write. I've got things in my desk. I've looked at it and I'm thinking my grandchildren do better than I've done. Yeah. There's lots of members in our choir. Yes. I can't even tell you their names because I can't remember.
Because aphasia is so complex, the challenges are different for everybody. Professional support is vital, as Anne, John and Erin can attest. How do you learn to speak again? How does that happen?
I had an excellent speech pathologist, Jane Hagenstall.
So how long did it take for you to get mobility and speech?
A year.
We spend a lot of time on speech-related issues.
Yes, yes.
So we work on it at home every day. And we've got the choir, and Anne's also in an aphasia group.
Professionals and community organisations can help to ease the load on family members who are thrust suddenly into unfamiliar and difficult territory. What's it like with you and your husband at the moment? Is it a challenge for both of you?
A challenge, yeah, both of us.
It's hard because a family has a lot of problems. I've got the problem, but they've got a problem. Yes. Trying to understand a person that has a stroke.
Yeah.
It changed how we relate to each other.
Yeah.
I'm much nicer to him after the stroke.
Is he much nicer to you?
Yeah.
Or? Okay, lovely.
It forced him to grow up.
We've lost, well, what Anne's lost in communication skills, I'm really sad about, and I shall always remain so.
Yeah.
But you can't go backwards.
No.
You've got to go forward.
What were some of the positives?
Well, spending more time together. My ability to communicate to Anne has improved. If I pretend I understand what she's saying,
No.
it doesn't go down well.
The strong character, by the sounds of things.
Yes.
You're a strong woman.
I'm still scared of it.
Yes. To hear more of their extraordinary stories, head over to our website for extended interviews. And we will hear again from the Stroke Accord Choir before the end of the show. And we're back with Anne Abbott. So Anne, tell us, how do you recognise a stroke?
Well, because stroke can affect any part of the brain, and it always just affects just part of the brain, the effects are quite variable. But the most common symptoms are sudden change in speech. The speech might become slurred, trouble understanding, trouble getting words out. There can be sudden weakness of muscles in the face, arm or leg. So you can get a facial droop, you can get paralysis of the arm or leg. Usually one side of the body is affected at a time, but occasionally both sides can be affected. Other changes, sudden loss of vision, which could be partial or total, or double vision.
So what do we do then if we think we're having a stroke, or if we're with someone that we think might be having a stroke?
Well, the most important thing to do is just to ring the ambulance straight away and get into hospital straight away, because there are effective treatments that can reduce your long-term risk of disability from stroke, but they have to be given very quickly.
Look, thank you very much, Anne. I really appreciate your time.
Coming up, author and artist Barbara Gabbo-Grecken. And Wendy Lyons tells her amazing story. That and more on The Sally Ann Show.